What's going on? It is December 4th, 2023. We are back here for another Mon Monday. And tonight we're talking Survivor 45. Very excited. Another great episode, I thought. So let's not waste any time, right? Let's jump right into this. Let's get this going. All right. I am John Dumpy Valadares, of course, standing Miss D. Valadares. And, of course, I'm joined by my fellow tribe mates, as always, Mr. Kyle Petty O'Kane, standing the wonderful Jake O'Kane. We also have Gina Morgino, not standing anybody because...
Hold on. Kyle had been taking the last name, so we can't both be O'Kane.
Yes, we can. Just be one big happy family.
Little sister wives action.
Gina Morgino, Petty O'Kane.
There's no rules here. No rules here. We're all adults, and and of course, Mikey Marmon back with us again. Not standing anybody either.
I was gonna look up what Emily's last name was, but then I got lazy and didn't at all.
Yeah, I think it's
Emily.
Flippin.
That's a great last name, Marmon Flippin. Yeah. Mikey Flippin Marmon.
That's the one.
I like
Definitely
it.
been called that.
That's the order would have to go.
I love it. And yeah, we're Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. So, find us on the socials. Follow us, like us, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Mikey Marmon Flippin. I think I like Mikey Flippin Marmon better.
Baby.
Yeah.
Mar Flippin.
Take any variation of.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun, this episode, I thought. I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. So I guess let's start from the top, right? I feel like the first real thing that stuck out to me was what Bruce was trying to cook up with this plan to lie that he had sent his idol out of the game with Kellie when she got voted out. And I just kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, no one's going to buy this. And some people did briefly, but what do you think of this plan?
Listen, Dee said it best. She was, I think when Katara brought it to Dee was like, he needed to do that right after she left. And if he had had that foresight, I think it would have been a great plan, because then the pressure's off. Then he can play his idol, you know what I mean? Like whenever he felt like it, because whatever. But waiting this long, like, it's just like, how do you expect that to work? Also, he's been at odds with Katara, so why is she the one that he went to? Like, why are you lying to Katara about this and then be like, oh, never mind. Did you get it?
But like that was it for me too. It was like the way that he did it was like, oh, I don't have my idol anymore. She took it, and Katara went, okay, and he went, I lied. Did you believe me? Did I get you? Like immediately, and she was like, oh, okay, and it's like, what? You didn't even like pretend to go along with it. You immediately were like, I don't have an idol anymore. It's like, what are you doing?
Like, of all people, like, he knows at this point that she's been gunning for him. So why are you gonna lie to her? Like, I just don't understand like the thought process here. Again, if he had the day after Kellie left or right after Kellie left, went to Jake immediately and been like, hey, she left with my idol. Great. That's a great move. But this, the way oh man.
Yeah.
I was like impressed and depressed literally within 10 seconds. At first I was like, okay, all right, Bruce. I was like, maybe you can sell this, but and it was over so fast.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, Jake bought it for a little while. It did get go ahead.
When that moment happened, I was like, because like the way that it was edited together, it was like he tells Jake and Jake is like, oh, no way. And then Jake goes to tell Drew, and I was like, I swear to God, if this is the reason that Jake gets booted from this freaking game, I'm going to lose my mind.
No. You can't give Bruce that much credit.
Oh, I was ready to lose it.
Yeah. Oh man. But the other thing, so like before, like the reward challenge that we got to, like in the beginning of the episode was, think it was Emily, Bruce, and Katura having a conversation about having to break up the Reba 4. And it was exciting to me to see them talking about it because they, at this point, I know it's split half and half, Reba and everybody else. And it's just kind of like, it's been this steamroll, and it's been impressive from the Reba side, but at the same time, like, not that this season has been boring in any way, but I would like to start seeing Reba take some shots, right? I feel like
fireworks. Yep.
Yeah, like, we lost, Kelly, and we lost Kendra, and then like now it's just like the target's on Bruce or it's on Jake, and it's like, all right, I want somebody to be talking about, Julie or Drew or something. It's just I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Break them up. Let's get some sparks flying. Let's see what happens.
Right.
Some excitement within that quartet. It's impressive how long they've stayed together, but it's just it just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna those are not our final four. There's just no way.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's problematic once you start to get towards the end of this game, if those are the people that you're up against, because your games are not looking that different at this
exactly
stage.
Like, how do you differentiate?
Right. Like, I guess I could say, like, maybe Austin, because he's one running around with all these advantages, like giving people idols just to make sure they're safe and things like that. But I don't know that puts you that much further ahead to be able to say, like, I played such a much better game. Right. It's like, no, you guys were the same ones.
And then, like, but on the other hand, like, D would need Julie on that jury to corroborate, like, I put this vote through. If she's up against Austin and Drew, like, they're gonna try to take credit for her moves. So, like, they need somebody else from that alliance,
right,
to be like, yes, that's true. That's how that happened.
Right, David, to speak to those things.
Exactly.
Nobody else was there. Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, D up against Julie at the end, like, there's just no way.
Yeah,
there's no way either of them can take it.
Right,
the way I see it, at least.
Right, I agree. I totally agree. But then we had a reward challenge. And this was by far the best reward of the season. Jeff told us turkey, mashed potatoes with gravy. What else did he say? Oh, apple pie, beer, soda, sangria, juice.
I can't help but notice that there were so many side dishes in this reward challenge.
Yeah, it wasn't just
our chicken.
Yeah. It wasn't just a big
bubble chicken.
Yeah, it wasn't just a big chicken on a piece of wood. Eat with your hands, like.
Yeah,
big is one word for it.
They figured they'd just swing by the nearby Publix and pick this sucker up. We gotta show the film.
Right.
Publix.
Oh man! But then also, along with all the food and everything, whoever got this reward would be able to spend the night at the sanctuary with pillows and blankets. And we would find out later, get letters from home. Just so you know what time it is a little later. It's family time with Kyle Petty. But yeah, what do you think of this reward challenge? This was a pretty fun one, I thought. Having to go through, kind of race over some obstacles, go through, crawl onto the net. And then this maze looked like intense to me. This was a fun one, I thought. I like this one.
Yeah, I will say, by the time we got to the maze, like, it almost felt like the rest of it just
didn't matter.
Yeah, because like it didn't take anyone like wildly long to go through it. Like, I feel like because of that, it was just like, oh, we just wanted to tire them out a little bit to get to the maze, which makes sense. But I just thought it was funny that, like, we were all pretty much starting the maze like almost at the same time.
Yeah.
No.
I agree.
But this was a hell of a reward, and yeah.
No, this was a great one. I think that's what made it so fun too, because you're right. Like the challenge itself, other than the maze, wasn't really anything special. Right. But just knowing what they were all playing for is what like made it so exciting.
And I think to that point too, like the fact that it was pretty much level. Like it was even. There was a chance for Emily to win. Like. That made it more exciting because it didn't feel like any one person was dominating, which I think was for the better.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. But Emily did pull off the win. I was very happy to see it. Literally shaking after she got this win. Literally shaking, full body shaking.
It was she's one of those people where, like, it was just so nice to see how much it meant to her to win it,
Yeah. And it's set up really just a very fun, next part of the episode where we're getting the split between ladies' night and boys' night. Because Emily decided just to take all the women. It was her, Katura, Julie, and Dee. And then all the boys went back to camp. How did you guys like this boys' night segment? This was one of the most fun things like all season, I think.
Kyle clearly did not.
Yeah, Kyle did not like
it. Was fun.
I loved it.
Nice little change of pace. I'm not super into talking about my farts all that much. So like that part, I was like, damn, we're really getting into it here. But the montage was fun. I gotta say though, man, Drew is scary skinny.
I know.
Oh no.
You can see every I don't know. There's some, and he came in skinny, so like it's not like something that like I'm sure changed too much over the last like 2 weeks or whatever. But damn, that boy is skinny.
Yeah,
you don't realize it until he starts making muscles.
He actually made me laugh because on Twitter during like that segment of the episode, he tweeted and he was like, I mean, I'm having a fun time watching this, but the Mojo Dojo Casa House segment was very unexpected. I don't quite know how we got here.
I wish they played I Am Ken. That would have been
fun. Oh man, but Kyle, you didn't really seem to. Your facial expressions are kind of saying that you really didn't care for this very much.
I mean, what is there to like? I mean, it's just men being men being farmers. I mean,
oh my god, the music and everything.
It was the music that got me.
The music didn't do anything for me either.
Wow.
I I'm sorry. Yeah, I could have done without the whole segment.
Wow. So all right. Well, then, you know what? That's what you said, so now you're going to have to watch some of it again.
Oh, yeah. My man. Yeah. You know, I have never been one of the boys. I have never broed out.
The contrast of like Bruce holding that giant tree, and then to Drew cleaning a dish on the beach. That was funny.
Yeah.
Is that music from something?
It's from Top Gun.
Oh. Is that why it resonates with you all? That means something to you? That means something to you, Gina?
I just thought it was funny.
It's just like a funny 80s reference. I don't know. I'm not a big Top Gun fan.
So I didn't know anything about this. I was like, is this supposed to be? Maybe this is for a different audience. I don't know.
I mean, I do like Top Gun, but I just felt like the music was very fun and like mashed up against the scenes we got. Let's give Kyle one more shot.
Talked about food a lot. We talked about like action movies, like the stuff that the girls don't want to talk about. It's like, okay, bacon is good, but it's not like amazing. It's a little overrated. Steak, pork is very fatty. I'm doing my best, but it was fun, and you got to try new things out here on Survivor. So I'll try the bro out.
See what I'm saying though? He's so skinny. Damn, there's not a muscle on that man's body.
Kyle, I'm sorry.
I don't even want to rebuff this because I don't want to be subject and do it again. So,
oh my god,
we loved it. Yay. What do you all say? Hype.
Oh god. Wow, I'm really shocked that you didn't like this. I saw everybody on Twitter too that I saw was like, "Oh my god, this might be the most fun thing I've ever watched on Survivor."
Wow, the most fun thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh gosh, this looks like a good time to pee. I'd rather watch commercials."
Oh no!
Wow.
That's harsh.
Well, see, now you're making me double down on it.
I'm not making you do anything.
No, but I feel like once you get backed into a corner, it's like a cat. It's like, no, stop coming for me. Leave me alone. That's crazy.
Oh my god. But don't worry, that's all I have from Boys Night, so there won't be any more Boys Night clips for you to watch.
See, I would echo Brandon's thoughts. All right. I probably got up and I probably walked away. So I'm go wash a dish.
Is Brandon Donlin the Brandon that couldn't climb the ladder?
That is correct.
Well,
that is correct.
Maybe he should probably not speak.
Yo!
That's why I mean, like, he's just mad.
Savage Monday.
He's just mad he couldn't make it to boys' night.
Yikes.
He's not even the Brandon I thought that he was referring to either.
If it was Brando, I feel like I would let it slide a little bit more. But you don't got a word to say. You don't got a leg to stand on.
I thought it was the Brandon from like last season. Remember the black guy? Wasn't his name Brandon? He went out, I think, like right before jury. He had an idol at one point, played it.
Last season feels like 7 years ago.
If it even was, if that was even his name or anything like that, I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
There's if it's
Meanwhile,
not Carolyn,
my
I got
mom
no
is
idea.
texting me, asking me if I want a personalized video from George Santos.
What? What? Why?
She's like, I can get you one for $200. That's what she said.
Is he on Cameo? Jesus Christ!
I don't know. My mom is
Dead.
Dude, that's my representative, baby.
He gets kicked out of Congress for spending stealing people's money to pay for OnlyFans, and immediately makes a cameo when he gets kicked out.
$200.
What? Like that's wild.
Oh God.
That I got to tell you, if you asked me like what's the craziest thing you could possibly think of that might come up on the podcast tonight, I would never have guessed George Santos.
No, I didn't think so either. I really only wanted to look up this Brandon, and then I just saw this thing from my mom that I was wanted. This is who I thought we were talking about.
I legitimately.
Okay.
Not a single memory of this man.
I remember him.
Wow.
I remember him. I remember.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're walking down the street, I wouldn't know him.
Sorry to
this man.
To bring it back, I think the contrast of the boys' night to then Emily in the confessional with the wine glass still just absolutely chilling. That's some good stuff right there.
That was good.
They've been having fun with the confessionals this season. I feel like it's been good.
Yeah, I agree. And we talked about boys' night. Kyle wants to move on, so you know. So let's talk about ladies' night.
My mom and her George Santos thing. I would have waited to the end of the stream, but it's like, well, she made the stream. She get a response now.
Oh man.
But so yeah, ladies' night was interesting because we did have the women talking about trying to, you know, at least flush Bruce's idol out, even if you know, they couldn't get him out of the game.
Bruno.
All right, okay, jeez, God, you can't misspeak once around here. The whole stream gets derailed.
Nope, I held you down.
I know. That's because Kyle understands,
and I held it back.
That's
rolling on.
That's because Kyle understands. You know. Okay. So anyway. Oh my God. Women are talking about either trying to flush Bruce's idol out or if they can vote him out. So, you know, this plan starts to formulate about potentially splitting votes between Bruce and Jake, but putting more votes on Bruce than Jake, just in case he doesn't use his idol, so that they can get him out in that way. In that case, so that was the plan that the ladies were coming up with, and it did bring up something interesting later because now that people were talking about splitting votes on Bruce and Jake, it made an interesting situation for the non-Reba people to potentially take a shot at them. But we'll get there. Because first, I did want to just bring it back to, you know, these letters from home that the women got and just get Kyle's opinion. So this is family time, you know? Here we go.
Stream is unhinged.
Beautiful house. It's a beautiful home.
Oh my gosh.
What'd you think, Kyle?
I don't care about these letters.
Wow.
This doesn't resonate with me the same way. I'm sorry. They've only been out there for what? I said 19 days. I mean, no one's had a parent that moved away. Am I the only one? Parents don't live around here. It can be way more than 19 days since I've seen my parents. Like, get over it. I don't know. Whack.
What I'll say is that while I do agree with you, I think it's crazy that I think in this situation, like getting a letter from a person is like such a different experience than like speaking to them. You know what I mean? Because like people will write things down that they'll never say to you in person. So I would imagine that in these, like, while I wouldn't be like, I need my letter right now. Like, I can imagine that they're probably seeing things in these letters that have never been spoken out loud, which is where I think a lot of the emotion comes from. And I mean, like, look at Katura. Like, first of all, how she went no contact with her mom, and how her mom knew where to send this letter is crazy.
Yeah,
and then
there was a lot about that online.
Made it through. That's insane. I mean, clearly, like someone else that is close to Katura must have like put this through. Like, it couldn't have come directly from production. And I
saw a lot of discourse about this, like of people being upset with production for this because it clearly took a mental strain on her as like the days continued and the competition continued from like what we saw. But it's also like,
do they read the letters? Do they know even what's
I don't know.
I mean, like they must have an idea of her relationship with her mom, but like
they have to know that she's no contact with, like, I don't know. I feel like there's no way they would have known that if they reached out to, like, how would they have gotten to reach out to her?
But also,
at all?
I mean, like the question is, if this letter comes in, is it their place to stop that? Like, how can they know that it's like is it their responsibility to like bar that? Like, what if she wanted that letter?
People were upset that like she was able to send one in at all because they were like, how does she know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like it had to have come from, like, there had to have been a contact between someone who is close to Katura still and the mother. You know what I mean? Like some like middle ground, whether it be a sibling or another family member. Like
yeah.
And then so like depending on how the mom knew to send the letter, like once that letter is sent, I don't think that production has any right to stop.
Well, at that point, yeah.
Like I think at that point, if the letter comes through, it's then Katura's decision, do I want to read this or not? And she chose to read it. Again, there's so many, like I'd like to hear
right, there's so much, yeah.
But yeah, all that to say is just I feel like what I'm saying is like there's things in letters that you don't get in real life. So it's interesting. And I also thought it was really cool that they just let Dee read that letter in Spanish and didn't translate a damn word. They said figure it out. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah. But all right, that was pretty much it for ladies' night. You know, planning to try to split votes on Bruce and Jake, and then the letters. But we got back to camp because the whole thing about Bruce's idol came up at ladies' night also, and the guys are all at camp thinking Bruce might not have an idol. Emily immediately comes back and tells Drew, "No, it's a lie. It's a lie."
Doesn't give him a second.
Yeah. And like things started to get really interesting here with like the scrambling and everybody running around because while this plan was in motion to split votes on Bruce and Jake, Emily had like this really big goal of trying to get Bruce to not use his idol, and really like was going around making this whole plan that she did not even have any interest in actually carrying out by getting Bruce to think that Bruce, Katura, and Jake would put their votes on Julie while all the Reba people split their votes on Bruce and Jake, essentially taking over the majority and finally getting a chance to break up that Reba, which I was kind of hoping we might get. But we didn't. We didn't get it. What did you think about Emily's like scheming here, though, like to get Bruce to not use the idol?
I mean, clearly it worked. So you gotta hand it to her with that. Like the fact that she was able to pull off making him feel so comfortable that this idol that was almost guaranteed to be played in this tribal was then not played at all. That's impressive. What I'll say is like, was voting out Bruce the best option at this point in the game? does it make more sense to still go for Julie, to really actually go for Julie? Like, because I mean, they see Bruce as a threat, I guess, on the island, but like from our perspective, like the only thing that makes him a threat is that he's won a couple immunities. You know, like I'm
Yeah.
not like, the fact that he's now made it this far, like, is it worth it to even get him out? Like, does he really pose a threat in a final tribal? We'll never know. But that was just the thought I had. Like, was this truly the best option? Time will tell.
I mean, at the very least, I think they had to have flushed it at this point, but I did not expect that it would end the way that it turned out.
Yeah.
I will say I got a little worried at the tribal because they were this whole thing of like, oh, I'm gonna convince him that he doesn't need to play it. And then Jeff is doing the questioning and she's like, yeah, it's just so crazy that like, we're gonna like do this vote and we're gonna get an idol out of the gate. And she's like just openly talking about how they're trying to flush the idol. And I was like, Emily, if you don't shut up, like you just told me for 20 minutes that you're trying to make him believe that he doesn't need to play it. And now you're telling him you're gonna vote him out essentially.
Yeah, well, that strategy seemed to work. So
I don't know how.
I guess because the idea of flushing an idol is so different from the idea of like actually being voted out, because it's just like, you don't know how many votes are on you if they're flushing your idol, like it could be none. Like it could be a total just like mind game that they're playing with you. We've definitely seen before where like they've convinced someone that they're voting for them and then not a single vote goes to them and they play the idol for nothing.
Right.
So who's to like, I don't know, but whatever she did, however she managed to talk to him, it worked.
And I also feel like Emily saying that stuff in the tribal, I feel like is kind of stuff that she has to say, because like Bruce is probably sitting there thinking that Emily is just trying to make sure that the Reba people, know that she's still on board with the plan that they came up with to like split votes on Bruce and Jake. Like if she starts saying like, oh, like maybe Bruce won't have to use his idol, well, then maybe people start looking at Emily like, why are you saying this? The whole plan is we all know he has an idol. We all know it has to get flushed out. Why are you saying that he might not have to use it? What, did you come up with a plan? Like, I feel like it could backfire on Emily almost.
Yeah. There's like so many layers to like what she had to accomplish in this to make this happen. And the fact that it worked is really impressive. And I think if she can like sustain the fact at a final if she makes it to final tribal, if she can sustain the fact that like, and I guess like prove the fact essentially that this was her move, like that's a big move.
Absolutely.
Like that's that could be huge for her in the future.
Yeah. Yep.
There's something to be said for Katora's argument about how you don't want to take anyone named Mama to the end.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And I really think that Julie is somebody that we should be looking at. I have to say, I do not believe that Bruce was the best selection. Yes, he's won immunity, but as many times as he's won, Julie almost won, and she's got the social strength backing the rest of that, so maybe she didn't win those, but now she's the front runner for these upcoming ones, and everyone loves her. At least what you had with Bruce was somebody that no one liked.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think too, like Julie's an interesting case because I feel like a lot of the time with these like mama characters, like they don't feel as strong in the game as Julie does at this point. Like Julie just like all around is a very, very strong player. And I think like the thought of like a mama character is like almost like, we don't have to worry about them. That's just mom. Like, like they're kind of like, and so I think, I absolutely think you're right. And I think Katura is really smart to have her like finger on that pulse rather
Julie's
than like,
not a regular mom. She's a cool mom.
She's a cool mom.
I think they're gonna have problems. And I also think that there's a lot of focus right now on Emily and like how strong of a game she's playing. If we look to seasons prior, like the edit that Emily is getting, she's not going to win this game. She's not getting to the end of this game.
Yeah.
She is the shocker elimination that we have coming up in a couple of weeks. So that means who's the dark horse? It's always that person that we don't get to really see edited in properly, a la Erica, like people like that, even Gabler, because we didn't see anything else that made people want to vote for him. So what does that mean when we get to the end here?
Yeah.
Is Julia shoe-in? What about Dee? We're not seeing a lot of Dee's bigger moves, right?
Yeah.
We know she's a physical competitor, but anything much past that and her amazing toes, we don't know things.
What I will say too, to that point is I don't actually think that there's a person left in the game that I would be upset if they were the winner.
Yeah,
I don't
agree.
think so either.
I don't think that like there's no Gabler left where I'm like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like,
Social media seems to have that opinion of Drew, but I personally don't.
Drew's been playing the game. Like,
yeah,
him or whether you like him or not is kind of irrelevant. He has been a major figure in quite a few votes.
absolutely.
And I would argue that he's playing one of the better games out there. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough to. I don't think that there is that situation. I don't think that they're going to have that issue this season. For sane people at least. There will always be people that stand too hard.
Well.
And
right. But yeah, I mean, it is just interesting now because like if Bruce goes and now you've got the Reba 4 against the 3 leftovers, and it's kind of like,
yeah,
how do you make any move now unless Reba starts to turn on each other immediately, which could start happening.
Next on sort of hints in that direction.
Yeah. But I'm actually also realizing that we kind of skipped over the immunity challenge, which is my fault. Yeah.
On,
so
John.
I know this was, they're out in the water on this floating platform that has all these steep ramps, and they had to lay on this ramp, hold on to these handholds, and they would progressively get lower and lower down, and the handles that they were holding would get smaller and smaller and smaller.
Smaller.
Yeah. I will say Bruce, he didn't win, but he came in second and he still did very well. Like, he only had to outlast one more person, Austin, to get his 3rd straight immunity challenge win, which would have been wild.
Crazy. Yeah, this one was funny because it was like, looking at it, like, it doesn't look super challenging. You know what I mean? I'm sure like up there it is absolutely strenuous, but like looking at like, I'm like, oh, they're relaxing up there. Like, that looks chill.
Taking a snooze.
I could do that easy.
Just chilling.
Easy.
Yeah.
Sunbathing. SPF 5.
SPF 30 on there.
Emily was out of this like immediately.
I was like, same girl.
Yeah.
She said, I got my reward challenge. No one's eyes on me right now. Get me out of here.
This was a great episode for my my 2 remaining Survivor draft players, because Emily won the best reward of the season, and then Austin won immunity in this. This was like, that probably means they're both out immediately next.
And then
congratulations to you.
I took my first L this week.
I was gonna say that my favorite part about Bruce getting eliminated was that we no longer have to hear Mikey bragging about how his full draft team is intact.
I love it.
Well, listen, we still got 3 more weeks. I still got all you beat right now.
That's all right. I have a very strong soldier carrying my torch.
Which I would like to say
Petty.
really quickly too. You know, we love to talk about Jake on this podcast, but a standout moment in this. You say who? A standout moment in this episode for me was at Tribal. They start reading out the votes, and we see Jake's name come out first. And the first thing that I noticed was how badly the jury did not want to see Jake go home in this episode. Kelly immediately was like, oh, no. And Caleb was like, it's fine. Just give it a second. We don't know yet. We don't know what's going on. And I said, wait a second. Because we've been talking about, how important jury management is and stuff like this. And, John had brought up that when Caleb went out, by immediately saying, Julie, I'm sorry, it was me, that now tells Caleb Jake didn't burn him. We saw Kelly and Kendra go out. Neither of them are going to be upset with Jake because the alternative was Jake. So anything that he had to say to save himself was just to save himself. It wasn't to burn them. And to see them so upset to see his name get pulled, like, his jury management is pretty solid right now.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm very happy.
Yeah.
I'm also very happy.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting because, like, we did mention that the next, because Jake had a rough go in this episode. It was a rough tribal for him.
Yeah.
He was out on the beach at one point, very emotional, kind of just talking about how he it feels like everybody's lying to him. He has no idea what's going on.
Right. That whole conversation with him and Drew, by the way, how freaking annoying was that?
God.
Thing?
Yeah.
Like, how dare you refer to my man as a mobster, A of all, and B of all? Like, I'm so tired of Drew running around here like he's like king shit. It's like he just thinks that he's owed information. He's owed all these different things. I'm like overtired.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I don't disagree. But you know what's interesting? I felt like Julie, like, she's been in a much better spot, obviously being a part of this like super strong Reba, alliance. But like, it was interesting to me how like Julie was struggling with being the one that was lying to people that were getting voted out, and then you had Jake struggling with the fact that he was the one constantly being lied to, and it was just like interesting to see them both like struggling with all the lying going on in the game, but from completely different sides of it, I guess.
Yes.
But going back to kind of what Gina was talking about with like Jake and his jury management, Julie, while she is having trouble lying, is still doing it. And like, maybe that jury management isn't going so well for her. Cause like you could even see, even when Emily was talking, like this jury is like very expressive.
Yes.
I love it too. And like, there were moments where you had Emily talking at the tribal council, and they'd show the jury, and they would just be like nodding along in agreement, like really kind of taking in what Emily was saying. Jake, at one point, Kellie turned to Kendra and was like, "Oh my!" And Jake was like kind of talking about how difficult it's been for him, and Kellie being like, "He's kind of breaking my heart right now." Like they have sympathy for them, like they see like value in what Emily is saying, and then like look at the like. I loved these faces in this tribal council. So just these are very short clips, and then I have a couple of pictures too of some of the reactions of the jury in this tribal council. But this is when Julie was talking at tribal council about the lying and how hard it was, especially with Kendra.
I felt terrible after Kendra. Like I can't even look over at the jury. Because I feel like there was an extra
like just that sassy, like meanwhile, like you have like certain members of the tribe talking, and like clearly the jury is way more on their side than anything that like any of the Reba people are saying, which I think is like a big issue for a lot of them, because especially with the way people like Drew talk. There was a point where Drew described post-merge as like a train barreling down the tracks, and the tribe members that have gotten voted out, they were tied to the tracks. Like, just listen to what he says, and like the react, like again, like
the merge so far has been defined by steamrolls. There was a target, and they were tied to the train tracks, and the train came and drove over them. Today, the vote is a little bit more logistical, and I think.
Like that look on Kendra's face of just like tongue in cheek.
Kendra wants them dead.
Yeah, like tongue in cheek, like shaking her head. It's like these are the things that like the jury is not looking kind. Like if there's even one member of Reba there or two members of Reba, and there's one outsider in the final three, I think they've got a much better shot at winning than any of the Reba people, depending on what's going on with the jury and how certain competitions shake out and stuff.
Right. It totally depends though on if the jury is like, am I going to vote for the person I like the most, or am I going to vote for the person that I think played the best game? Because like, while Jake if it's to say Jake's in the end with Austin and D, while Jake may be the most liked out of that three, did Jake play a better game than Austin and D? Just by making it to the final, you know what I mean? Like, I don't up to this point, I would say absolutely not. I think Austin and D have much stronger resumes, for lack of a better term, So it's hard to. It just depends on what they're gonna value at the end there. What I'll say, I got Drew though. Sometimes that man talks, and I'm like, what the hell are you? He threw the word indubitably. Never in my life could I even imagine saying I can't even say it.
Indubitably.
I could never imagine throwing that word into a sentence casually. What? Who are you? Where did you learn to speak from a Charles Dickens book? Like what?
It's like even there was like a moment a couple of episodes ago where he was like, "Oh, something." It's like a sort of Damocles situation, and even Jeff looked at him like, yeah,
like it's like, where did you learn to speak? Are you from a 1930s spy novel? Like, what's going on here?
It's like everyone is trying to have that moment in tribal where they're speaking very metaphorically. It also seems like very vague, or it also could be very direct, depending on how you take it. It's like everybody's trying to sound very smart, and then ends up like falling like right flat on their fucking face. And it's a part of it that's fun to watch. So that's part of the enjoyment I get out of tribal anyway. Moments like this, painful,
Indubitably.
painful. It's like stop trying to sound so intelligent. Like you actually sound like an idiot. Like you're trying too hard.
Yeah, you're forcing it. You're forcing it.
Yeah.
Doobie doobie doo.
My
Where are you?
God.
Where are you?
No relation to Sir
Indubitably?
Scooby.
Yeah. I do just have a couple more pictures of some of my favorite reactions from the jury in this tribal council, because Kendra and Kelly were just absolutely serving
Oof.
with these looks. Here's one.
Kill.
Here's one. Just Kendra's face, like Kelly leaning in, and then this one.
That was the best one. I love that.
And then this was their reaction when Bruce actually got voted out, which was a lot of fun. Just Kendra, arms in the air, like
Elated.
So like literally celebrated.
Best
Yeah.
day of her life.
I want that shirt that Caleb's wearing.
Yeah, it looks like they have his initials on it on the
Yeah, is that
pocket
his
there.
shirt?
KG. I want one that says KG.
Wait, is
still,
G his
though.
last name?
I think his last name starts with a G.
As far as I know, his full name is Caleb the Canadian. So
That's not right. Certainly not how his passport reads.
who knows? I've never seen a Canadian passport. It could read however they want.
What
No
is
one in
that?
Canada.
Like-
No one in Canada has a last name. They're all just the Canadian.
The Canadian.
Wow.
Looks like it says Caleb Griebewald.
Okay.
Gebrold.
Guess they definitely are. They are
Mikey's
his-
having a hard time today.
He is.
Mikey's going through it.
Scooby, Scrappy, and Doobie Doobie Doo.
I think that's all I have for this episode. Just the only other stuff I wanted to talk about was the next on. But I feel like before we do that, we got to get one of these in here because it's Monday.
Oh god.
Manwan Monday.
So thank God for that.
Why does she have a bag on her head?
Oh, that is a hat. Okay.
Oh Lord, Mikey.
Okay.
Manwan.
This story has been told so many times on this podcast. I love it.
This stream
Yeah.
is cracked. I don't know what's happening to us tonight.
Manwan was a twist from Celebrity Big Brother. What was it? 3?
Yeah.
3. And you wanted the Manwan bag. I don't remember exactly how you won. Wasn't it passed around like hot potato?
It was like a
It was a safety
chain of
chain.
safety sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. If you had the bag, then you had the power of Manwan and you were safe. And Manwan was supposed to, as it was told, was this famous fashion designer from the BB universe. That just, I don't know, he's just some famous designer. So as part of the gag, like, so you're safe, but you have to wear this purse hat, right? You're walking around with this hat. It's like the Manwan hat, right? And then at the end of, once you got to the end of the week, you took the hat off and you take off the Manwan patch, right? And you flip it upside down. Manwan actually says "Nam now." What?
love
Oh
it.
my
I
gosh!
love
Chaos ensues. So now you have
I
to
love
pass
it.
the bag around again, and whoever ends up with the bag at the end is now nominated for eviction.
Oh no!
Yeah. So Manwan was a trick, trickery,
Yikes.
a production gotcha.
Oh my Lord.
There you
And
go.
Kyle,
That's why she's wearing the bag.
yeah, and Kyle and I, we have a lot of fun with it. We love Manwan Monday, and Gina refuses to have any fun. So it has become a
Right?
yeah, it has
Gina
become a
refuses to have
permanent. So it's become a
Wow.
permanent part of the podcast, especially every Monday. But sometimes, not even on Monday. We'll play it on Thursday. We'll play it on Saturday night at midnight if you want.
Manwan is alive and
Um,
kicking. It's silly.
So one of the things we saw in the next on for this week's episode coming up was it looks like Austin and Dee getting a little closer, kind of hanging out, laying down on the beach together. But other than that, honestly, this next on was all about Reba as I'm looking at it, because they had Austin and Dee, and other than that, we had Drew telling Austin that he actually wants Julie out next. So apparently Drew is deciding not to go after the Boston mobster for the time being, because he wants to try to take out Julie. Dee is not okay with that. Dee wants Julie to stay, obviously. And then Julie, we see a clip of Julie saying she's going rogue. So could she possibly flip and then have the a side of Julie, Emily, Jake, and Katura possibly like becoming suddenly a majority against the remaining 3 Reba?
Would look good for Julie's resume.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some really exciting stuff next week. I'm really looking forward to it. By next week, I mean this week, because it is already Monday. Mon Monday.
Yeah.
To be exact.
That's right. It is Mon Monday. I think I'm having
a lot to talk about next week. I'm excited.
Yeah. I feel like I'm having some sporadic connection issues at the moment.
Uh-oh.
But I think I'm okay. Everything. Hopefully it was fine the whole time, but for like very briefly for me, the 3 of you guys like froze, and then it said it was reconnecting, and now I'm back. I think so. But that's okay.
It seemed fine to us.
All right, good.
We saw
good,
no
good.
issue. It was just you saying, "Do I have a problem? Do I have a problem?" I'm like, "All right, this is it. This is it. This is my Becky Sawyer moment, right? I gotta get up. Here we go."
It's so
then nothing. You stayed.
I just had a very brief moment of fear where I thought I was going to lose my connection, but I think we're good.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, does anybody have anything else? Anything else
Not
for Survivor?
No, not for Survivor.
Okay.
No.
All right. What do we have coming up?
So much.
I know.
Tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Well, I have work tomorrow. That's what I have coming up.
Oh. All right. Well,
I gotta teach some kiddies how to swim. It's very
terrible. It sounds
they did. Well, it's not great.
But what else do we have coming up for the pod? We got tomorrow. We dropped another Big Brother Australia exit interview earlier this evening. So if you haven't checked that out, but you are watching Big Brother Australia by chance, go check out those exit interviews. We've been talking to all of the evicted house guests all season as they leave, and they've been super fun conversations. Not only do we talk about the game, but we're talking really, really getting to know them a little better on a personal level too. And it's been a lot of fun. And we'll be dropping another one of those tomorrow, and then we'll be talking with the winner, right? What'll that be? Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So that'll be great.
And then our final recap on Big Brother Australia will be Thursday at 10:30. Wrapping up the season. Our final thoughts and such.
Yeah, we'll also be doing another episode of the Challenge 39 on Thursday. That'll come before Big Brother Australia's recap at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So we're streaming 4 out of 5 days this week.
Yeah, and that's not all. We'll be with you on Saturday as well. You heard it here first. We are doing Big Brother Reindeer Games, of course. 9 Big Brother legends re-entering the house for a competition-based series where everyone's competing for Santa's blessing and $100,000. But essentially, Santa's blessing. We'll be doing most of this season with our besties from the Who All Gonna Be There podcast, and on Saturday, midnight our time. You do your own conversions wherever you are. We're doing a cracked draft. All right, get your drinkies, get your smokies. Let's get down and find out who's undrafted. Whoever we don't draft is your selection. Good luck. We'll see you then.
That's right. All right. So a lot of exciting things coming up. Well, so it's really 5 days. 5 out of 6 days we'll be streaming. We're
busy bitches. Busy bitches.
So very busy week. But all right. I think that's it. So find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod. Everywhere on all the social media platforms, everywhere that you listen to your podcast. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us a review. That's super helpful, and we would love to get that and hear your feedback about what we put out here.
Absolutely.
And I think that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And grand return to Blue Sky, December 11th, with the return of Big Brother Reindeer Games. Hashtag
Oh my God.
BBRG. All right, we'll see you there.
Oh man, this has been a fun night. It's been pretty wild for a Monday night. So
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Okay, well, that's it. I guess we're out of here. So everybody, have a good night, and you know what to do. Lido, Lido, Lido.
Oh my God.
Lido, 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 Lido.